It's a fun fundraiser.
I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:34. If everybody could please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So now we have the swearing in of our new trustee of the board, Shannon Mavis.
Is anyone able to take a photo?
I can.
Thank you. Alright. So.
You're okay.
I'm going to have you raise your right hand for me. Repeat after me. I do hereby accept the office of member of the Board of Education of Galesburg-Augusta Community Schools.
I do hereby accept the
Office of member
office of member
of the Board of Education
of the Board of Education
of Galesburg-Augusta Community Schools.
of Galesburg-Augusta Community Schools.
And then I'll read the rest and then the end. Okay. Dated December 8th, you were actually sworn in officially on the 8th, but this is the unofficial swearing in front of the board. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Galesburg-Augusta Community Schools according to the best of my ability.
I will.
Welcome to the board. Thanks.
Laura, if you could please note all board members and administrators present, please. Board, you have an agenda in front of you. Are there any changes?
To number 7 under reports, letter G, we're going to add suspension of bylaw 0152.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have the consent agenda. Approval of minute meetings for the regular board meeting for November 20th, 2023. The committee of the whole meeting dated December 4th, 2023. A special board meeting dated December 7th, 2023. Approval of the accounts payable in the amount of $930.85 for the month of November. C, the approval of the treasurer's report dated November 30th, 2023 with a balance of $1,357,589.18. D, approval of the new hires, resignations and retirements. Chris, do you have anything to add?
I do not.
At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll support.
Laura, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Walker,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Mavis,
Yes.
Wilkes,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Smelter,
Yes.
Huberstein.
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. Reports, we have the secretary report from Laura Wilkes.
This is an email from Benjamin Overgaard. Hello, it is with sincere ambivalence that I will be resigning from my position with the Board of Education. It has been an absolute privilege to serve the school and community in this capacity. I was honored with an opportunity at my current place of employment, which will require a significant time commitment. Unfortunately, because of this, I will not be able to fully devote the time needed with the BOE. I am grateful for the experiences and relationships developed over the past years, and I'm proud of all the success and accomplishments with such a great team. Thanks, Benjamin Overgaard.
Thank you. Is there anything else? No?
No, that's it.
Next, we have the Above and Beyond Award. Frank Couch is going to present it.
Where should I stand?
Just come right up here.
Over here.
Have Laura come up with me.
Good evening, everyone. This month we've nominated for the Above and Beyond Award Laura Karstanj. So 1 year ago, Laura started as the day custodian at our primary school. At that time, she was employed by our former vendor, RNA. From day one, Laura showed a willingness to work hard and learn new skills. Not having school-related experience, there was a learning curve at first, but Laura never gave up. Over the rest of the school year, she learned the routine, picked up new skills, and caught on to some of the tricks. Along the way, her previous maintenance experience became evident as she noticed everything. Every burned out light, every ding in the drywall, every stained ceiling tile, loose carpet, wiggly toilet seat, every scuff, scratch, scrape, everything. I admired that she noticed all these things, and I saw potential. After the last day of school on June 9th, 2023, Laura and all the other employees quit RNA. She had stuck it out to the end of the school year, which is all I could ask for anybody. But now I had an opportunity. As soon as I could, I offered Laura a job doing light maintenance and repairs for the district until the contract with RNA was up, at which time she would transfer to custodian. She accepted, and in her first 2 weeks working at the middle school, Laura had touched up or completely repainted almost every wall in the building. If something needed tightened, loosened, replaced, adjusted, patched, flipped, whatever, it got done. All I had to do was provide the tools and the materials. July 3rd, opening day with our new in-house custodial program. Honestly, it was pretty rough at first. But despite the challenges, Laura never let it affect her work ethic. She remained positive and productive, setting the example for the rest of the team. In August, we made some changes for the better, and Laura became our lead custodian at the primary school. Almost immediately, she met and exceeded all the expectations set for this position. With construction wrapping up and open house around the corner, Laura led her team and accomplished almost an entire summer's worth of cleaning in a few short weeks. During the school year thus far, Laura has continued to excel with both the quality of her work as well as leading and improving her team. It is my honor to nominate Laura for this award, always willing to do what needs to be done and always looking for a way to do things better, always going above and beyond.
Well done. Good job, guys.
Thank you, Laura. Next up, we have the bond update with Dean Chase from Triangle and Denny.
I believe we have a PowerPoint also for you guys, or at least some PDF photos to look at too, hopefully.
To whose attention did you send those, Dean?
Those would have been Laura. She got
Are they in the
Oops.
packet?
Yeah, they should be in the packet.
All right, just give me one moment
Should
here.
just be part of
We'll
the
dig them out.
PDF.
It's a 104-page packet, so
Oh, wow.
it's a short one. There's all the minutes. Fast
Yes,
forward. Any of you have it in front of you? There we go.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah.
Closer.
Skip the good
And
part.
of course,
Sideways.
That should be the last page, I believe.
I can do a rotate here, I'm pretty sure.
only one page that you sent me.
Oh, really?
Got it all memorized, dude. You can do. You can
Right.
just shoot
No,
some
I
diff
think
here.
the point is to get some of the pictures of what's going on here. Let me see if I can't forward this to you.
I'm gonna send it directly to me. Chris.Rice2.
I don't think I sent it to Laura.
If anybody has any good jokes, or we could
What do you call
sing a
Santa
Christmas
Claus's,
carol.
What do you call Santa Claus's dog?
I don't know,
Santa
Lindsay,
Paws.
what do you call Santa Claus's dog?
Santa Paws.
Santa Claus, nailed it.
You're gonna see any cane.
What do you call Santa Claus's favorite music? Eric, you can get reindeer points here.
I am terrible at these. I'm totally
Can I say it?
It's rap.
Mm.
Oh, that's the elf's favorite.
Oh.
Santa Claus's is Elphus. Could be an opposite.
Okay, all right. Not gonna tell you.
I'll tell this next one really, really slow. That's all we got. What does an elf learn in school?
Elfology.
Alphonomics.
Yeah.
What does an elf learn in school?
Rapatory.
Well, obviously. I go shortcut.
Yeah, no, you
The
guys say
alphabet.
short.
The alphabet.
Oh,
That's what I sent to Jenny.
You say rice too?
We're just choosing her. Should we do a different purpose?
Trash though.
We sure can. Let's.
Let's move on to the curriculum and instruction report with Teresa King, and we'll go back to the bond update.
Hi, everybody. You'll notice the structure is a little bit different than it has been in months past. We've been really working on communication as part of our strategic plan. So one of the things I wanted to start doing starting this month was providing this information to the board, to all of you, but then also to all of our teachers as well. I think it's a good space because I often celebrate the hard work that they're doing, so I'd like them to know what I'm saying about them. So you'll notice that that was kind of the beginning piece, and because I'm sharing it with a new audience, I spent a lot of time this month putting forward our school improvement goal, our district improvement goal, and then breaking down some of those strategies so that teachers are well aware of what we're working on too. I'm just going to highlight strategy number 2 and just give you an update of where we are with guaranteed and viable curriculum. So Amy Pratt is leading our curriculum program review for 612 mathematics. I think you'll remember in the fall I kind of shared an audit of where we were and how we had quite a few resources that just didn't meet the expectations in research. And so we started that program review. She met with the 612 math teachers and started talking about what effective math instruction looks like at the secondary level. And then in January is meeting with 3 different reps to kind of take a look at some programs, and teachers are going to be part of that process. And then the other piece that I just wanted to highlight is all the work that the 612 ELA teachers are doing with the implementation of StudySync. They've been working on modifying the assessments and really honing in on instructional routines to use with our secondary students around close reading. So there's a lot of updates in there, so I'm very thorough. And then the other piece I wanted to highlight for you was that we had our first set of instructional rounds at the high school. The middle school rounds will take place in February, which means that system is getting off the ground. Teachers are getting into each other's classrooms and really learning from one another. So there's a lot to celebrate, a lot of great work happening. So that's what I chose to share with you this month. Yep.
Thank you.
I would just add to Teresa's update that being in a lot of schools and having the chance to see how they operate, having a K-12 team working on these types of best practices is not the rule. It is more the exception. So kudos to the administrators who are dedicated to the right work here, and I think you're going to see the benefits of that as time goes on. So thank you, Teresa, and all the principals. They're on the same page, and that's huge in terms of the benefit to the district. So let me check my email one more time. Let's see what we've got. I've got nothing.
We'll do the Superintendent Evaluation Committee report. Diana Walker.
So the Superintendent Evaluation Committee met on November 16th. At the time, that was Jessica, Ben, myself, and Wendy. We discussed the superintendent evaluation timeline for the future. We've kind of gone through what the timeline should look like. January, when we kind of set the goals and determine what those will be. April will be an informal update where the committee just meets with Wendy and kind of goes and looks at, where we at with the goals. July is going to be more of a formal update. October, back to informal update. And December is when the board will complete the evaluation. So basically a check-in each quarter. Last June, Wendy requested that the financial terms of her contract be negotiated through a reopener after fall count and after we knew what the district's funding would be from the new state budget. That language was included in the superintendent's contract taking effect July 1st of 23. We've discussed the average increases for professional staff and support staff. We discussed several possible financial packages for Wendy's 23-24 contract. The reopener is to be retroactive, the same as several of the other groups. The financial negotiations resulted in, we have a list of those. I'm going to go through those probably when we have to vote on them. Actually tonight, so we'll go through all of that then. And we were looking at not doing her next evaluation, not doing it in December, but doing it in June just because of kind of the condensed year. But then we've decided to go ahead and complete it this year to get on the January time frame. Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. Next up, we have F, Community Input, Agenda and Items Only.
Do you want to do the bylaw before we do the community input?
Read it, G.
Okay, so at this time, if anyone would like to speak on agenda items only, if so, you will need to state your full name for the record, and you will be limited to 3 minutes each.
Is there anybody?
You grab me first, Sean.
Okay.
I have 2 things, so can you start my time and then start my time again? First one will be short.
You just get 3 minutes.
Yeah. You can do a public comment later for the second.
You want to do that? Because I'm not staying. Well, I told you before. Okay, those are all the successes going on at the high school, but Lindsay can read those later or share. My time started?
Yep, you're good.
Can you start it over again, please? Just so I get my 3 minutes. Okay, see that again. There's time reserved for another closed session tonight. I'm just going to go. It's fine. Since we have new school board members, let me provide some context on one of the situations. Complaint regarding board policy 9130. I'm going to apologize to Mr. Rice because he has nothing to do with this. So, the reason why that complaint, along with the 3 other complaints, were filed was because Wendy Summers, our superintendent and leader of this district, displayed several examples of swearing and unprofessional conduct during a meeting in a professional setting on October 11, 2023. During said meeting, Mrs. Summers put her hand in my face, invading my personal space to stop me from talking, told me directly to shut up, asked me what the fuck is on April 1st about a statement I had made regarding the restoration of bargaining laws and teacher rights that were to be reinstated at that time, April 1st. Soon after a discussion, looked at me and said, fuck you to my face. Said, this situation is complete bullshit. When the teacher that I went down to defend and I stopped the meeting for fear of retaliation, further intimidation, and realizing that at that point, the meeting had lost all sense of purpose and respect. Following her 3rd time swearing at me, I looked at her and said, how do you feel that your behavior and your language is appropriate in this type of setting? And her response was, it doesn't matter, her swearing, kids aren't around. So that's the standard that we've now set in this district, and in a professional meeting, our superintendent can say fuck you to people's face, and it's okay. 4 formal complaints were filed against Ms. Summers for inappropriate language and unprofessional conduct. Those were filed November 27th. Since that time, we, GAEA, have received little to no communication from the school board, and in particular, board president Jessica Eberstein, regarding our complaints. To our knowledge, there have been 0 meetings and no investigation into this matter, or the complaints filed. How can you come to a decision without meeting with all sides involved? Were any of the other people present in that meeting interviewed? Myself, Lindsay Newton, or Randy Pomeroy? Is the board only relying on Mrs. Summers' account of what happened, again, like you did this summer? Is the board really that lazy, or do they just not care about the actions of our superintendent? If so, that means that the investigation is flawed and should not be taken into consideration. The other important thing to consider is what standard is the board setting for our school district and the employees that work here. If the board were to absolve Ms. Summers of any responsibility for her actions, they will then be setting a double standard for personal conduct and behavior of professional staff. One standard for Ms. Summers and one for the rest of us. They will, in essence, be establishing what we're calling around the district right now the Wendy rule. Meaning Ms. Summers can do or say whatever she wants, even if it is unprofessional conduct, and no consequences or punishment will ever be taken against her. And you're going to give her a $12,000 raise on top of it. We asked once again for an immediate meeting with the school board to discuss this matter. In addition, we asked the board to hold Ms. Summers accountable for her actions and language just as they would any other professional staff employee and render appropriate disciplinary action. Furthermore, we asked for guidance and update on the other 3 complaints that have also been filed.
Did you want to come up here now and do that?
I'm also, I'll share.
Okay.
I'll stand in the.
Okay, next we have G, the suspension of bylaw 0152. Okay, the board is currently without a vice president. Policy indicates that one shall be appointed within 30 days of the vacancy. I recommended that we wait until the org meeting to elect any new officers because we're going to do the election in January. Okay. Or just, that's just reports.
Yeah, well, we can revisit it at the end of the decision.
And going back to the bond update.
send it to Denny. That? Yeah, most of it is pictures with our phasing diagrams. That's about it.
Did you try to send it to them?
Yeah, and it's just not going through. I mean, I don't know if it's something with the iPhone or the Google platform, because I can send it to Denny, but not either one of you two.
They
You
can
might be able
forward.
to cast from your phone.
I could try.
Mm. Kaylee's gone.
You know what I was talking about though?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, hearing. Okay, I thought you said something different.
It's very good option.
Do you think try to cast my phone?
I don't know for that high time. Yeah, it's not cheap.
He's working on it.
You're not gonna be able to. It doesn't have that. It's some older.
Do you want to give you a report, or is it mostly just the pictures?
It's a lot of pictures, but
Walk me through the slides.
I'll talk to
Yeah,
it.
and then we can get them later.
This is gonna be very
Okay.
very different. So the first page is a diagram of where our phases are taking place down in the multi-purpose addition in the high school. We've had the weight room that got refinished. We got new flooring in there for the weight room, new paint on the floors and on the walls and the ceiling. They're going to be getting new speakers in that space. All that won't be connected until like the final turnover of the project due to some egress issues through that space. So we are using that weight room space as an egress, and we're going to be using and still using the wrestling room as an egress for everybody that in an emergency in the gym while there's events taking place, they'll still be able to egress the building. So that's why the speakers and everything isn't going to be hooked up. But come Christmas break, we'll be moving back into that space, that finished space. So that's pretty exciting. First phase of the project is getting turned back over to the district. It took close to 2 months to do that. So that's right in line with our schedule. Outside, you can see the walls going up. Those are pretty close to 40-foot walls that you can see on the outside there. The bearing masonry is wrapping up, and our crane should have showed up today. I did not see it out there, but we're going to be starting to set steel tomorrow. So there's going to be 110-foot roof trusses that come in tomorrow on a trailer. They'll be setting the crane outside and swinging right through, and our steel goes this way, so it's the long ways of the addition. So that'll be pretty exciting for people passing by. You'll be able to see that from. Yeah, Chris?
Dean, did you say that the crane and the trusses are going to arrive at the same time, so there's no need to store them, or are they on site right now?
There's going to be a little bit of storage for sure.
Did you finalize on a location?
At least 5 that are coming. They're going to be stored either right in within here, and then the smaller ones, they come in 2 pieces. There's a lower piece that is the whole 110 feet, and then there's an upper piece that's going to be much shorter, a lot easier to store on our site. So,
thank you.
And then all these smaller roof joists in there too, as well, will be. I think those have actually already showed up, and those are just off in the parking lot. Much smaller scale, way easier to deal with and maneuver and install and store on site. So it's going to be an exciting time. We had some trouble getting an erection crew to our site. We've overcome that. That was a hurdle for us. But we're very excited to start swinging steel because it's a big deal. We know winter's coming. It's a huge push to get this thing dried in. As soon as we get dried in, like our deck, the metal deck's going to go on. We're going to start covering that up, and then we're going to start putting heat in the building to start getting that area baked in, and people can start working under that area, putting your overhead mechanical and electrical runs in. So very exciting. And then yes, the wrestling room, end of February, we'll get into those spaces and start doing demo in, I believe, what is the old drafting room, which is now the interim weight room. We'll start here and start pushing, see if we can get in this a little bit earlier than the wrestling room. So as hopefully people are going to states for wrestling, we can start here and then move in there after they're done. So phasing diagram, and then these areas, locker room areas, spring break, that's when those are scheduled. It's a pretty quick turnaround for those. As long as we have the lockers on site, we can get in there, demo those things out pretty easily, and rework those spaces. So right here is just a rendering that Tower Pinkster gave us so that everybody can get a little bit of a reminder of what this finished product's going to look like. Not much else to see other than you can see the 40-foot walls, the cal walls that are going to bring in some of that natural light. It gives you a good perspective of what you see out there right now to what it's going to look like in the end. They don't have this box, the storage room built out yet. That's coming. We're going to get down that as soon as the steel's set, but the rest of it you can kind of get a look at how big and how tall that structure is. So pretty exciting. Same thing, we've got masonry. These are all the bearing walls that have gone up. Mason's out of this area right now. Let the steel guys in, swing their steel, and then the mason will come back and do their brick work on the robotics addition. Any questions with this addition right here? Right here is where they were going to enter and to bring the crane in. It's just nice to have a big opening. I don't know if the crane's really going to use that anymore with the size that they're going to use, but it's great to bring in material in and out in a temporary in the construction phase of this. So down, this would be the robotics room. We've got, this would be the exterior wall here. This would be facing into the courtyard, and this is the existing building right here. This wall is the last wall going on right here, which would be the closest to the new big multi-purpose addition. So, and that's coming along just fine. And just if you're interested, these are just structural support for the cow wall itself. Just an interesting note. Weight room, it's all finished. It's sitting there. We just got the transition. As soon as winter break hits, we can make that transition, start moving in. Really not too much else to show here other than the paint, the finishes, and nice cleaned up room ready for weight room equipment. Coming down the line, structural steel I've already talked to, brick veneer at the robotics edition, and then down the line installing the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, rough-ins coming up pretty soon here. And we've got the equipment moving. We were going to do it this week. We decided the district or the school wants to be using their equipment the whole time. So as soon as we take that equipment from one room to the other, they don't really want that lag there. So we're just going to do it over break, and there shouldn't be that lag of, hey, we need it for a week so that we can put it together and take it apart and do all that. So other than that, starting the wrestling room, move out, demolition, end of February. And then just a couple notes on, I was going to use that for budget-wise, just nice comparison stuff for contingencies for the multi-purpose. This is stuff used for our unforeseen conditions, anything that for design that needs to get adjusted to fit the project. We have committed contingencies at 32%. And as of our last billing, November billing, so we're getting through our December billing now, but our last billing we were at 30%. So we're tracking right there, and probably contingency is lagging just a little bit behind, which is a nice place to be in. So especially with some pretty major soil issues that we had out there in the actual multi-purpose space, we we had a layer of organics through that whole building pad. We had some soil borings that told us our soil was all right outside of the building pad, but when we shrunk it just a little bit, everything within that space was a little bit, we had that layer of organics that you don't want to build a building slab or any sort of bearing structure on. And so we ended up having to take all that fill out and put good engineered sand in there. So that was one of the major expenses, but per our contingency and where we're tracking with our cost to date for the project and our contingency spent, we're still tracking just fine. Other than that, primary got wrapped up. The books are closing on that. There's some pretty good chunk of contingency coming back to the client on that one for remainder of projects, and then the stadium still getting the books closed out on that one. So, any questions?
Thank you. We're all very excited.
It's very exciting. I think it's awesome when we were doing all the design of that of the multi-purpose space, and you get to walk out there and see the walls up that high, and it's like, this is a huge addition to the school district. So,
Well,
very
and it
exciting.
seems so weird because there was the break between the first two and then now. And I've driven up here multiple times, but with the time change, it's been dark. So I just actually saw it the other day for the first time.
Yeah,
Because
most
I hadn't
people are
been up
getting
here
out of
once
work
light.
and it's dark, and then
Yeah.
everybody's out of here, so it's like
Yeah, I was like, wow, it is
popping out of the ground
coming out.
pretty good. So, very exciting.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, next up we have business items for discussion. Monthly budget discussion with Philip.
Yeah, this won't take a long time unless there's questions, which I'm happy to answer. We're through 5 months of the fiscal year. You can see the budget to actual comparison that I've sent. This time of year tends to be some differences related to the fact that we're dealing with the original budget that was approved back in June. Obviously, we're working on the revised budget. We'll have that out soon. But other than that, most of the differences between last year and this year have to do with timing of when we receive certain revenues and when we pay certain bills. Obviously, there's some additions to the budget in terms of steps given to teachers and the recent contract tentative agreement. So those items have yet to be plugged in. But happy to answer questions.
All looks good.
Thank you, Philip.
Yep.
Next, we have the first reading of the middle school reproductive health curriculum by Lindsay Neal.
Presentation?
Yes.
I can see. So this, so we're going to start and then I'll connect. Hi guys, it's me. So I've got some things for you to follow along with. Some of you have been through this with me before. Yeah, my packets.
Any models this time, or?
Yeah. Models. Mr. Rice. And you haven't been through it with me before, but I will do my best to move quickly. It feels like a lot. I'm going to hand this off to you guys so you can follow as well. So, I'm Lindsay Neal. I'm the health teacher here at the high school, and I also have the privilege of teaching health at our middle school, which puts me in kind of an amazing position because I have the opportunity to sort of scaffold this curriculum with our kids in the middle school so that by the time they get to high school, it's not, why are we having to take health again? It's essentially health 2. So we're taking what they've already learned and we're expanding on that. And I'm trying to create this curriculum from what we already have approved. So we have a lot of material that's already been approved. It took sorting it, figuring out a scope and sequence that worked, and adjusting a lot of things down. So we've already been through the high school curriculum. You guys will see some of the same stuff through here.
but the way in which I'm teaching is different. So in the center here in the binder, I've got all my slides, and it kind of starts off here. So Sean, if you would hit it, thank you. We've got content and skills that we're focusing in on this scope and sequence. So you can kind of see it is similar to the high school one. However, when we look at the district points for 6th and 7th grade, they're very different than what we're looking for in high school, as they should be. So in teaching this content, we're also trying to procure these skills, get these kids to practice these skills, put these things in place so that as we go through this content with them, they're practicing accessing reliable sources of information, communicating respectfully and assertively. The list is right here. We've all seen it, been through it. If you have not, these are things for you to take home, but let's keep moving. Okay, so these are learning objectives. They are aligned with the MDE objectives as well as the Michigan Model for Health, which is our approved curriculum along with the 3 R's, which stand for rights, respect, and responsibility. Again, they're all board approved materials, but the way in which I teach them, I've added to a lot with outside resources. So if you look in your packet on this left-hand side, there's going to be a lot of things that are paper clipped. I've tabbed out in the center behind this copy of the slides exactly which resources I'm going to be adding in. So for middle school, you can see the female and male reproductive systems. These are new. Okay, these have not been approved for middle school. They have been approved for high school. And my goal is to have these kids do this in middle school, and we're going to use the same material in high school again. So we do have consistency. The way in which I teach it avoids that redundancy. If you flip the page, I've added 2 new pieces from the 3 R's curriculum into what's already been board approved. So I've added the image overload lesson, which you can see in the middle. So the objectives here are just to describe what body image is and its connection to self-esteem. So this is focused down to 6th and 7th grade. We're identifying 2 influences on body image and explaining the impact that media can have on one's body image and self-esteem. So in our sex ed advisory board, we went through this and we had approval from everybody with some modifications. So the word porn was blocked out, and you can see that through here. We decided as an advisory board to compromise here. We do have a need to talk about sexually explicit imagery at the middle school level. However, the way in which we do that, we can focus more on the piece of the lesson where we talk about generally positive, negative, and neutral images. Okay, so even though you'll see that in there, it was pointed out, and that's the beauty of the advisory board, is we have a sampling from administrators, community members, we had a clergy member, we have teachers, we have parents. And so in an effort to come at this from a perspective that is inclusive for everybody, we compromised there. So we're still teaching it, we're still talking about it, but it's going to be a tier 2, meaning I'm not going to bring it up and teach it initially. However, there will be lessons where we're trying to get these kids to generate things, get these kids to identify factors in their lives that are influencing. And so if it is brought up, there are specific scripts around exactly what we're going to say and which information we're going to use to respond to that. So those are attached here in the lesson. If you flip to the next tab, we have the So Attractive lesson. So this one is analyzing external influences, like how they influence or impact a person's attitudes, beliefs, and expectation about sexual orientation. They're demonstrating at least one strategy to communicate respectfully and about people of all sexual orientations. Again, my goal is to create an inclusive curriculum This lesson was not included in any of the middle school stuff that I found, and I would like for it to be. I would like to give kids the vocabulary to be respectful in our differences. If you flip back through here, and Sean, maybe you can hit it again for me. Keep going. Okay, so very clearly at the beginning of this unit, I'm defining with my kids what my job is, to make sure that you have all the facts and know how to access reliable information in the future. We're maintaining a safe and respectful environment for everyone to learn. And again, I'm not imposing my opinion, values, or beliefs onto students. My job is simply to make sure that I'm supplying equitable information in a safe environment. As with the high school curriculum, I have created for the middle school as well a Google Classroom for parents to access, where lessons with scripting will be provided ahead of time. All links that are in this packet will also be available in this Google Classroom ahead of time, giving parents the opportunity to speak with their children ahead of lessons, to see what their kids are learning that day, be able to opt them out of anything they're uncomfortable with without opting them out of the entire experience. So in providing that transparency, we're also going to include a parent night ahead of the unit instruction. So that gives parents the chance to come in, speak with me, ask questions. We can show people how to access Google Classroom, how to keep tabs on where we're at with that scope and sequence, how to access any links, any materials that they'd like to go over with their kid additionally after instruction or again ahead of instruction. So with the middle school, I don't know where Sean went. Oh my gosh. Hi. Okay. All right. So this is the job of my students, and with middle school, this is probably something we're going to have to start each class with over and over and over again, because they forget quick, you know? They really do. You can click through. So again, we're establishing guidelines to maintain conversations in a respectful and safe environment for our kids. We decided for high school to break into small groups, and we're sticking with that in middle school. We have the interesting, I'm not going to call it an obstacle, I'm going to call it an opportunity. We have 6th and 7th grade blended in my health class in the middle school. And I am telling you, it is like 6th grade and 7th grade. So they are at very different age groups, but we're going to give this a try and mix it together a little bit. We are still going to split them into boys and girls. And within that subsection, we're going to do small group breakouts. So we're having these conversations in small groups. We have a teacher in mind who will be stepping in on the off days. So on days that I'm working with girls and giving instruction, now both groups are getting the same instruction. We're still talking about menstruation with boys. We're still talking about puberty with boys and girls. They're all getting the same instruction. But on their off days, the goal is to create things for them to recall what they've learned the day before, practice it together, and apply it, okay? So if you look in the left-hand pocket of your folders, I have lots and lots of just material, really, because I want to make sure that whoever's managing, and we have Celeste Baird in mind. We've talked with her about it loosely, but nothing's been like firmed up or solidified. I did speak with her today to make sure it was okay that I threw her name out there, but the goal is for the person who is going to be facilitating these off days is, again, to have all the information that these kids have learned. They will not be able to reteach anything. All the instruction will be coming from me since I'm the certified health educator. But they will be able to implement some project-based learning. So they're not just going to be sitting there filling out notes and recalling. They're going to be engaged. There will be requirements. They are working in groups on these projects. And you can see we've got all kinds of fun stuff. We have matching things. We have gender roles, cause and effects. I did reproductive health bingo. we've got different things for them to practice around literacy, which is one of our big goals with this. We want these kids to be reproductive health literate by the time they get up here so that I can really run with it when they get into high school. We have breakaway activities. We're talking about intimacy. So there's just a wide variety of things for them to stay busy, to stay engaged, and to continue that learning with somebody who will be able to sort of facilitate these reflective days between instruction. So that's the big difference between the high school and the middle school. Obviously, we've got a difference in content, but there's also a difference in the way that we are going to present information to kids, the way that they're going to practice it, and then with assessments, if we do these project-based learning reflective days with them, by the end of it, we're not going to need to sit down with kids and have, okay, here's your reproductive health test. I don't want to know how well a kid can take a test. I want to know if they remember, they can recall, they can practice it together, they can apply it, and they can create something. So these project-based learning activities that we have on their off days are just as important as instruction days. That being said, the unit will go a little bit slower if I'm only teaching every other day. So we're looking at 6 weeks normally, so it will be closer to 8. So the sooner we can get started with it, the better. I'm hopeful that we can get going with this right after break. Okay, so feel free to look through this. Feel free to click on any of the links or ask questions. Email me around anything that you find. I've included literally everything that our kids will be getting, everything that they will see. Anybody who's interested in taking a peek at the Google Classrooms, I pulled these up. So let's see, this is our high school one. And it just looks like this. So it will just be parental access. They'll have the link. It will be separate from the Google Classroom that I'm using with students. So that sort of maintains anonymity for kids where they feel like my parents aren't dropping into my Google Classroom to check on things. And they may have access to that at home. But especially around reproductive health, I really want to give kids that opportunity to just feel safe to share. Feel free to ask questions. Like I've said before, it's a privilege to be that person for them, that they may have something they don't feel comfortable coming to a parent with. This is still heavily abstinence-based. So we're not teaching abstinence-only curriculum, but it is abstinence-based, which means we have an entire unit dedicated, again, to refusal skills, to what abstinence does mean, where to access information, how to speak with a parent or a trusted adult about sex or about your decision to become intimate. With the middle school, there is less of an emphasis on conception and more of an emphasis on anatomy, processes, pregnancy, and then we get into some birth stuff, but I've got to save something for high school. So that's where I'm at with it. Do you guys have questions for me immediately, or?
It's a blended 6th and 7th grade. Is it all 6th and 7th graders take it?
So this is an issue that we were trying to kind of problem solve. With, we have the 8th grade class now who did not get reproductive health last year. So there will be one class that has the gap that's not having the foundation laid. That being said, I can adjust the high school curriculum because I'm aware of it. And because we are teaching from the same curriculum with the Michigan model and the 3 R's, I can adjust it when they come in next year to be a little bit more inclusive and broken down. So they are getting that foundation after the fact. Does that answer your question?
But all 6th and 7th graders?
All 6th and 7th graders. All 6th graders should. And then, I don't know if these...
We just kind of have brainstormed some ideas. Some other districts push into like the science classroom for a couple of weeks to ensure we haven't nailed the details out on that first to make that plan yet, but we recognize that health has not been happening in middle school.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out how to fill those gaps. going forward.
So once you're caught up, is it still always 6th and 7th grade, or would it be only 6th graders from there?
So once we're caught up, the plan is to continue a blended class with 6th and 7th grade so that, and I'm not sure if we'll have to add a second class to the middle school curriculum. But yes, is the short answer
So
to
6th
that.
grade would repeat in 7th grade.
No. No, it would be if we have a blended class again next year, then yes. If not, then they would choose. It would be 7th grade. Is the
Are you saying
Right.
you get the choice to take it in 6th or 7th grade?
we don't know yet.
Okay, those are all unknowns. Okay, fair
We'll
enough. That's fine.
No, that's okay. We've discussed it. I don't have a solid answer because we're not sure.
Other than it'll be a required elective. Like
So at some point, everyone will have it.
At some point, yes.
Right, okay, that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to know. Okay, that answers my question.
Yep.
I have one question.
Yeah.
I know you said splitting into boys and girls,
Mhm.
but what about the youth who don't identify as
Thank you for
boys,
asking
girls?
that.
So, I mean, I think I
Mhm.
get your intention because you explained a little bit
Yeah.
that I'd be talking about reproductive health and everything.
Yes.
But just to make it a safe space.
Absolutely. So, inclusive curriculum. A lot of the language through here, and I did this in the high school as well, has been changed from male and female. And we're talking more with anatomy assigned at birth or assigned. So I am approaching this with a lens of inclusion, and we are using LGBTQ inclusive language. Also, we have approved resources for our students because we know that we have students of all sexual orientations. And my job, again, is to provide equitable information for everybody to practice safe sex. Okay, does that answer?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The more you dig through here, it really gets into that. We covered that heavily in the high school, so I'm sorry I skipped over a bit. Cool.
You mentioned we can take a look at it. Do we have it electronically yet? I mean, is there?
I'll have Teresa share it out. Okay. Cool.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, thank you guys.
If I could,
Yes.
just quickly commend you and your team on your work. It's obvious that you took into consideration the sensitivity of the subject, and that's appreciated. As it appears on the agenda, this was a first reading, which I assume the second reading will be held at our January 15th meeting. Is that correct? So I would encourage board members that have questions, send those through me, and I'll make sure that they get to the appropriate place. But that's the process. Questions should be directed to me, and those can be answered hopefully in advance of that meeting or at that meeting, so that you can make a decision on January 15th. And
Absolutely.
should it pass, you would be able to begin.
Yeah, I wanted
Right
to
away.
clarify because I know Lindsay mentioned she'd be starting after break.
Yeah.
Just to kind of clarify a little bit further with things that have already been approved. So none of the new material
Yep.
will happen until there's been.
So the approval of this isn't holding you up.
No, it's
Okay,
not. I
that's
can
perfect.
start teaching things that have already been approved, but I want to be very transparent about what I'd like to add in and why. Cool. Also, we've got the K through 5 curriculum coming up next. So.
Oh, I was going to ask about that. Like
Yeah.
a little tie-in, especially with that because do fifth graders still do the period and all the puberty stuff? Do they
Not yet.
So we're not doing that. The focus in elementary is, it's definitely shifted. So we do pre-puberty, which is actually a whole different lesson.
Okay.
Yep, but that's a great question, and I will have all that information for you guys when we wrap up and get K through 5 done, and then I can just teach.
Thank you for being very thorough.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thanks, Sean.
And next we have communications, public participants. At this time, if you would like to speak about any topic, if so, you need to state your full name for the record, and you will be given 3-minute limits.
Anyone sign up for you?
Shay, can you?
Sean's got it. Did you
Nobody?
want to read? You're good.
We're good. I asked Eric to find some celebration, so it's appropriate for him to do it during this time, correct?
Correct.
Okay, well, I'll give that feedback and have him do it next month.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, next we have board comments. Are there any board comments at this time? No?
I'll just real quick, I know, and the amount of time Lindsay put in and curriculum and all that into getting our reproductive health and curriculum all put together. That is just amazing. Been very thorough, and I know it's a lot of work, so appreciate that.
Okay, superintendent update, Chris Rice.
Thank you. Philip did a nice job of explaining to you the budget process, and I think it's always good. Not every district does a mid-year budget amendment, so it's a good thing to take a look at where you're at with revenues and expenditures and how you're tracking. And we're planning on that budget amendment being held on the 19th of February. I also wanted to share with you, I'm sure you're aware, but there have been some changes to the Public Employee Relations Act, otherwise known as PARA. And I want to give you an overview because we have a deadline that we need to meet, which is February 13th, when some of the language within PARA does take effect. Other pieces of it don't take effect until July, but because after February 13th there is the potential for requests to bargain, having these things in place by then are necessary for the board. So essentially what's happening is that right to work has been repealed in the state of Michigan. And we're really back to where we were 10 years ago in 2013, where those things that were identified as prohibited subjects of bargaining are no longer prohibited. So you're talking about teacher placement, teacher evaluation, teacher retention and recall, discipline, all of those types of things can now be negotiated. It doesn't state that any specific action has to be taken. It just says that those items may now be negotiated, and so could add a wrinkle, if you will, to the negotiation process. So I did want to let you know that. We do have the 3 meetings after tonight on our calendar. The 8th, I believe, according to what I've seen, is a potential COW meeting. The 15th is a regular meeting, and then again on February 5th. So we'll want to get those policies. There are 5 policies that need to be addressed. We'll want to get those on for a first reading at one of those meetings, and then a second reading at a subsequent meeting. Wendy had asked me to hold off on putting it on this agenda until one of those future meetings, just because this is evolving so rapidly that we want to make sure we really have our mind wrapped around what these changes are going to mean going forward. So stay tuned for that one. Secondly, K-RISA is asking that we, at our January meeting, that the board approves the resolution on our CTE consortium participation with the new Career Tech Center being built. I will provide you with more detail very, very soon. But in general, what you need to know is that they are assigning slots at the new Career Tech Center based on your student population. And if anybody care to guess what the percentage of GA kids is in Kalamazoo County at the total? 3.8%. So, of the 1,344 slots, we will get 40 of those slots. That sounds low, but when you take a look at the fact that there are only 28 kids currently participating in CTE, it is an increase of 12. The question that boards always want to know is it going to cost us anything? And overall, countywide, there will be a decrease in cost. But with that, amongst the districts in the county, there are some winners and there are some losers in terms of the financial impact. GA is about neutral. The anticipated look at it right now, it has about a $2,000 decrease in cost for GA. But again, I will get you a lot more information so that you can make a decision on that. But they want to move forward with that planning, and so that will be on the agenda in January. That concludes my report.
Next up, we have closed session under 81A of the Open Meetings Act. At this time, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session under 81A of the Open Meeting Act.
I'll support.
Can you repeat that and include section 81H as well?
Section
81A and 81H.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got it. I'll make a motion to go into closed session under 81A and 81H of the Open Meetings Act.
And I'll support.
Laura, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Walker?
Yes.
Shoot?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Horsey? Yes. Smelter?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Trying to say what time.
Yeah.
Give us
So at 7:05. 7:45, we'll go into closed session.
That's Mr. Sportel and Mrs. Smelter to stay for the first closed session. If everyone else would please step out, and we'll invite you in when we are ready.
8:30. We need to turn these on. This is open session or closed?
I have this on.
So we had a motion. Did we have a second?
Oh, I said I support.
Oh, you did? Oh,
She seconded it.
Okay,
we all
I
voted?
heard you.
Oh, I missed that.
Do I have to say all in favor, say aye?
Yep.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries 7-0.
You
You had your slide.
Good
I
job.
don't function.
Oh, sorry.
8 o'clock is usually my limit.
Well,
Until the kids are looking.
Mine too, especially on the same next year. Okay.
We are in open session.
Okay, so a business item for discussion. Decision. I don't know which one it is.
Hold on.
It is.
Yeah.
So, response to administrative recommendation per policy 4139. At this time, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve termination of employment for Cindy Walker effective immediately.
Board, at this time, is there anything to discuss?
I will second.
No, thank you. I don't want to wait for that second. At board, is there anything to discuss?
I would like to say something, Cindy. Even though I know we're making the motion for termination of your employment, I do appreciate your honesty, your willingness to acknowledge the mistake that you made. Unfortunately, it's something that's pretty major.
Absolutely.
So, I just want to acknowledge and appreciate, though, that you did come forward and admit to what you did.
I thank you very much. That's the way I was brought up. I take accountability. I tell it the way it is, and the chips fall where they may. And I certainly appreciate all of your time in listening to me and my co-workers, and appreciate the deliberation and accept the results, because it is what it is. I guess my question for Chris is, so going forward, as far as like turning in the laptop that the school provided for me, and will Lindsay reach out? Or
Lindsay or Sean will reach out. There is kind of an exit process.
Okay, I didn't know.
They will reach out to you, and they'll take care of that. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you so much.
No win situation.
Well,
no.
We have to do a roll call vote and stuff, but you're welcome to leave if you want. I want to ditto what Diana said. I think it is extremely brave of you to come sit in this seat and explain the situation to us. It's a lot harder to do that than just be terminated and move on. So I wanted to say I appreciate that. And with that, Laura may have a roll call vote, please.
Walker.
Yes.
Schuch.
Yes.
Mavis.
Yes.
Wilkes.
Yes.
Horsey. Yes. Smelter.
I abstain.
Yep. He has to.
No,
He has to.
Yeah. Eberstein.
No. Motion carries 5-1.
Okay.
Right?
The only thing I'll add, we felt your remorse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Truly.
well, absolutely.
Oh, so motion carries 5. Well, would it be 5-2 because an exception is a no?
No.
With an exception. Okay.
With an abstention. Thank you, Cindy.
Okay. Thank you again very much for your time.
It was a difficult situation, but I do appreciate you taking the time to listen
Yes.
and hear me out. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I need a motion to go back into closed session.
Make a motion to go back into closed session. Number 3.
It's for the last,
And another one.
Oh,
okay.
for 81A.
Crowd, you gotta the whip from time to
So
time.
demanding.
I appreciate your feedback though. I like that as well.
Yeah, that was actually.
It's a simple thing, but
Yes.
it's,
Yes, and it's true though.
and then everybody feels pressure too. It's like, oh, here's the other thing. I used to tell my board all the time: if you don't give me a 4 in an area, don't sit there and apologize for it. You know,
You're right.
why are you apologizing to me that you gave me an effective? That's silly. Anyway, that's how we are. We're kind people, right? It's that Midwest nice, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, so business items for decision, A, middle school football. At this time, I would entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the financial agreement between Galesburg-Augusta Education Association. Wait.
Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm on the right one.
You're doing right.
Education Association and the Galesburg-Augusta Community Schools for the 2023-2024 school years as presented.
I'll support.
Board, is there any discussion?
I'm excited to see our school thriving and wanting to grow more.
Anything else?
I just had a question. Why is, and this might be a stupid question, why is this the 23-24 school year and this is the 24-25?
Oh.
Typo.
Oh, no. So the season that we play will be 24,
Yeah.
25, but we're
Approving
approving it now.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Correct.
I was
Clarity.
Well,
Yeah.
it had me thrown, but then as I think through it.
No, that makes sense. Okay, thanks. Sorry.
Laura, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Walker,
Yes.
Shoup,
Yes.
Mavis,
Yes.
Wilkes,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Smelter,
Yes.
Lieberstein.
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. Next, we have policy update. At this time, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading and adoption of Neola, Fall Neola Policy Volume 38, Number 1 update.
I'll support.
Board, at this time, do we have any discussion? Roll call vote, please, Laura.
Walker,
Yes.
Shoup,
Yes.
Mavis,
Yes.
Wilkes,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Smelter,
Yep.
Lieberstein.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. C, superintendent evaluation. At this time, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the rating of Superintendent Wendy Summers as effective as presented.
I'll support.
Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Shoup,
Yes.
Mavis,
Yes.
Wilkes,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Smelter,
Yes.
Lieberstein.
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. Okay. D, superintendent 2023-2024 financial terms. I would entertain a motion.
We didn't discuss
We didn't discuss it.
it. We didn't discuss it.
Well, we'll make a motion, then we can discuss.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the financial terms of the superintendent's 2023-2024 contract as presented.
Support.
Any discussion?
Yeah, so I'll go, we went through this in the superintendent evaluation committee. Basically, we looked at what percentage did like employees get, like the average percentage of raise this year. And we got that percentage and then split it up between the different things like the 4433 increase in salary, the 5,000 merit pay, and then 2,000 tour 403B, which, well, 2,000 increase, which makes a $12,000 total contribution. So basically what we did was looked at the average percentage of increase that employees got and then gave her basically the same, just kind of divvied it up in different ways.
I do have a question, and it's because I don't have stats in front of me. So I know when we averaged those raises, the goal is to get closer to counties around us. Have we looked at comparables for superintendents and what they are receiving?
I did not this year, but I've looked at those a lot in years past, and I can tell you they are all over the board. Like really crazy. If you look at Schoolcraft superintendent, all over. And then there's some that are lower. There's so.
But also depends on like situation. That's what's so hard is you have to find the demographics of how long have they been there along with the size of the
Which
school.
is so all over.
Because they do change quickly.
Which is harder to do than
Do you have an
comparing
idea
the-
with that, Chris? I mean, because it's
I
so
do.
far all over
I know
the
that
board.
topic very, very well.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're so laden with incentives that it's not apples to oranges anywhere.
Yeah.
But I know the going rate for the GAs of the world. I don't know what Wendy's total salary is, but I know the going rate. We can maybe have a conversation about that off the record someplace.
So we're saying the teachers got a 3.5% increase on average?
No, they got it's like an 8%. Hers is split up amongst those three different things. So the 3.5% increase was just to her salary, and then the 5,000 merit pay, so just what she actually receives in her salary, and then 5,000, which technically the merit pay that can be given without even we have that in in her contract that she can get up to 10% bonus or something. And then 2,000 increase to the district's contribution. So all of it added up together is like that percentage.
Something for you to consider going forward. I would encourage you to consider creating salary tables for all of your administrators, like you do for your teachers. Part of the reason for that is that the ORS retirement system is currently hammering superintendents in particular and restricting their final average compensation toward their retirement pension at what they were making in 2016. And it's really an open session. I have to be careful. It's really a little battle going on right now between MASA, the Superintendent's Association, and ORS. And
So we talked in depth about that at the
Okay.
Superintendent Evaluation Committee, and that's why the sections are broken up too.
good.
If that
Yeah,
makes
I would
sense.
do it for all of your administrators at some point. I think it makes good sense so that you're not always going through this. Well, what are my neighbors paying? You know, that you've got a schedule that you put together that you could adjust annually based on cost of living or whatever you might want to use. So.
I appreciate that.
Another job for another day.
Is there any more
Other
discussion,
Does
questions?
that make sense?
I think I'm comfortable at this point.
Okay, roll call vote please.
Walker,
Yes.
Shoup,
Yes.
Mavis,
Yes.
Wilkes,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Smelter,
Yes.
Eversheim.
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Okay, E, response to the GAEA complaint per policy 9130.
Yep.
In a November 27th, 2023 complaint under policy 9130, the president of the Galesburg-Augusta Education Association alleged that the superintendent violated policies 3362.01, 3362.02, and administrative guidelines 1662A during an October 11th, 2023 meeting attended by the association president. The superintendent promptly notified the board president that she lost her temper in the October 11th, 2023 meeting. Thereafter, the superintendent informed the board of the incident and publicly apologized at the October 15th, 2023 board meeting. There is no issue of material fact that requires a hearing on the association's complaint. The board finds that the superintendent public apology addressed the situation. The board secretary is directed to provide written notice to the association president of the board's action.
Board, is there any discussion? I would just like to add that the policies too, one of them, it was reporting threatening behaviors, so I mean there's no violation of that. And then there was the complaints is how to process them. So
Did you have a second? You did?
No.
That's good.
sorry. Yeah, thank you.
We did have, that was the motion, so we.
I'll second.
I was doing good for a minute.
Doing great.
Any discussion? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Schuth,
Yes.
Mavis. Yes. Wilkes,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Smelter,
Yes.
Eberstein.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. I think I need to add that in here. Wait for that. Okay. This one. Okay. Suspension of the bylaw 0152. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the suspension of bylaw 0152.
I'll support.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Schuth,
Yes.
Mavis.
Yes.
Wilkes,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Smelter,
Yes.
Eberstein.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. I would like to adjourn the meeting at 9:33.
Just FYI, when you suspend a bylaw, it automatically goes back into effect at your next meeting. So the suspension is only valid until your next meeting.
Okay, cool.